people ask me, on their comments and things, about some of the many famous people I've been lucky enough to meet along the way in this fabulous showbiz, journalism, television career, whatever you want to call it. And it's strange, isn't it? I don't know if you find this, but you find a picture or like a sort of ticket stub or something like that, and you think, oh yeah, I forgot I did that, And I don't know if it's a sign of age, and I always say that, but you just never know, do you? A friend was saying the other day that, Wimbledon's starting again, and I thought, oh yeah, I love Wimbledon. And then I realised actually that I'd forgotten this, that I'd served the Wimbledon champion, Pete Sampras, at the winning dinner, the winning lunch at the Savoy Hotel on one of the many years that he'd won. And people say to me, well, how did you get that job? But it was quite simple. I was arrested, as they call it in thespian terms, out of work, right? And so we used to sign on to a catering agency, and we would get sent to all these wonderful venues and stuff like that to assist. Because I got this theatre background, they used to say, okay, you can announce the people in, or you can serve the top table because you won't be nervous or shy. You know what it's like, something like, I think it's called gobby, isn't it? Particularly in the north. He was delightful, by the way, Pete Sampras, very shy, like all big sportsmen. And then along the way, of course, I've been lucky enough to interview superstars of football like Peter Shilton, Jose Mourinho, the manager who's the favourite one, or whatever they call him. Lovely man, don't believe what you read in the press and all that sort of stuff. Very down to earth, very sweet, that sort of thing. But it was one star that I was looking through some pictures the other day of the sporting world that I'd forgotten. I know it sounds awful to say this, but truly had forgotten that I'd met. And he was the very first major footballer to be knighted by none other than our wonderful monarch of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II. Who are we talking about? This particular gentleman, Sir Stanley Matthews, right? And the background to this, and I must just tell you, by the way, if you're looking at this picture and saying, is that you, Neil? Yes. I had darker hair for a role, I believe. I'm not quite sure what I was doing at that point. Strange, isn't it? Can't remember certain things, but that is Sir Stanley Matthews. It was taken at the Theatre Royal in Hanley, which is in Staffordshire. Wonderful venue, massive venue in fact. And that was for a show called Variety Express, which was produced by Anne Montini, a wonderful lady, and otherwise known as a lady who is very close to my heart, because she's the lady that put all the shows together. And it was hosted by Alan Scott, a brilliant compere and comedian. And basically Anne had organised this as a thank you to Alan, because he was, Sir Stanley was, his childhood hero, as it was for many boys of that age. You've got to realise just what a big deal having Sir Stanley at a show like that was. I was a lot younger then, so you just sort of take it in your stride, don't you? Came along to Stoke because obviously it was the place where his big career had started all of those years ago. Let me tell you about Sir Stanley. He was a wonderful man. He did, of course, change the face of football. He was one of the very first big stars to promote Brill cream, no less. And he told me this story in the dressing room, that the moment that his sort of big playing days were over is the moment that they stopped sending the Brill cream. Nothing like showbiz, is it? Knocking you on the head when you're down, as it were. But he also was able, in his sort of playing days, he said he could earn extra money. He got around about £14 a week. We're talking a long time ago, of course, but he could earn extra money if he offered to clean the boots of the other footballers. Can you imagine a captain now doing anything like that? And the reason why I wanted to shine a light on Sir Stanley is it's like so many stars that I tell you about. I think, people who have gone before us deserve recognition. They changed the face of many things. And Sir Stanley Matthews truly changed the face of football. He was what they were called a gentleman's footballer. So all of those people that go along now, go forward, all the bigger names of today, who are doing incredibly well, Ronaldo, David Beckham, all those names that we now know of. Well, really, nothing's new, as I often say here on the show. And I must tell you, we do have a full videotape of that particular appearance of Sir Stanley. So again, gold dust when we eventually ever get to find some time to find it. But he was a spectacular man. And as I say, when you meet these wonderful sportsmen and women across the years, you realise that they've got a passion, a dedication to their craft. I do say this about everybody, really. I mean, I think anybody, from whether it's a dressmaker, a ballroom dancer, person who makes pots and pottery, that sort of stuff, you really truly have to be dedicated to your craft. And these are the people that I really admire, because when you think about it, it takes a lot to be that good over so many years. I don't know if you know this as well, Sir Stanley was possibly one of the oldest ever players in the Football League, because he had a break because of the war and then he came back. Still still as fit as ever, but I suppose his greatest triumph would be the 1953 Cup final, of which all boys of that era will remember, and of course he got to meet the then newly crowned Gracious Majesty the Queen. I do remember him saying though that she was more nervous about handing over the cup than he was, because he said he was so exhausted after the game, he was kind of a bit of a blur. Of course, fast forward a few years, and in 1965 he became, at Buckingham Palace, Sir Stanley Matthews. So on this day I just really wanted to share a golden memory of a golden sporting legend. I hope you don't mind. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.